Hey there everyone, this is One Novice Shooter's review of the Uberti 1860 Richard Mason's conversion. To give you a comparison, this right here is what we're going to be talking about. And this is your standard size 1911. So for reference, instead of putting up a ruler, I just wanted to show everybody the size of the gun. This particular model fires out the 45 Long Colt, which is this bullet right here. This is your standard 45 ACP. That little one there's got more punch than this one does, and I find 45 Long Colts really easy to reload, so I try to keep all my cowboy action stuff standard with 45 LC. This gun is of course a replica. Reproduction made by the folks in Italy, Uberti, who are kind of a conglomerate of Beretta and Stoeger at the same time. Much like all Ubertis, world's finest replicas, they're delivered to you in this authentic wooden looking pizza box. I really don't understand. Uberti tends to cost a good amount of money if you buy some of their top of the line replicas, and yet they're all delivered in this very stylish piece of cardboard. Inside you get your regular sleep aids, reading for those of us that can't fall asleep, a simple gun lock, nothing special. There you go. So onto the gun. This revolver here was part of the transition from black powder revolvers to cartridge revolvers. Uberti does a pretty good job keeping standard with all the other stuff. They even made the loading gate look like it was added on here on purpose. So, for what they're worth regarding their boxes, they do a pretty darn good job with these reproductions. This is a single action revolver, meaning that if you press down on the trigger, nothing happens until you cock back the hammer. The hammer has several positions. If you listen for it, yeah, right there, that is the first click, which does not engage the firing mechanism, but it does free up the cylinder. The cylinder only turns in one direction. It's kind of heavy too. It's not as free as a lot of other revolvers, so you've got to put some effort into clicking it over. And then, of course, if you pull it back further, that's the firing mechanism. Now you're ready. It's got a relatively light trigger pull, a little bit of creep, probably about maybe an eighth of an inch, and I think I can fix that. The way you uncock this is by pulling back on the hammer, pressing down the trigger, and then letting it fall down slowly without actually engaging the pin with the primer. One thing that I found really not new at this with this type of pistol is the way the sights work. If you notice, there are no rear sights, just that little thin front sight. And basically what you're doing is, once you cock, see that little notch there? That's your rear sight. So you line up that rear notch with the front sight, and that's how you aim. This is really difficult because it's bad enough that this front sight is really thin. This back notch is just as thin as that. So I mean, you've got to really think about what you're doing. I think these were intended more like point revolvers than they were actually accuracy guns. So basically you point it at somebody at a relatively close range and hope that your bullet lands the mark. In order to unload and reload, just like with most standard action revolvers, what you do is you're going to be placing your revolver in the first position, which is the safety position. Also frees up the cylinder. You open up the loading gate here, and you load the cartridges individually. If you want to unload, basically you're doing the same thing. Once you've got all your cases spent, you use this little extractor rod, and this is even cool because it looks like it was added on, post conversion. So there's basically this kind of mechanism. You got to twist this knob down and eject every one of your cases. This is known as an open top revolver, since if you notice, it has no framing up here. Of course, adds to the nostalgia. Looks pretty cool. And you probably noticed or maybe remember that you've seen a lot of these types of revolvers in movies. I would have preferred that this thing had an octagonal barrel, but I think that's the Navy type. This is the 1860 5-inch barrel Army conversion. And I think the Army used these types of barrels. 45 Long Colt, of course, wasn't offered as the true ammunition during black powder. I think it was 41, 44, and 38. But again, I don't want to play around with reloading 5 or 6 different kinds of ammunition for my cowboy shooting. I took this gun out once so far. It shoots pretty nice. I hope to post a couple of videos as far as just practicing and using it out on the field. The furniture is nicely done. Instrument grade type finishes. I mean, if you've got slippery hands or if you've got sweat on your palms, this may not be the most comfortable situation, but I enjoy the way this sits in my hand, and I'm not a really big fan of Western style grips. So there you go. That's your Uberti Richard Mason's Conversion 1860. You can pick one of these up for about under $400. I wouldn't recommend this as a initial entry gun for cowboy shooting because of the sights and because of the mechanics. You might want to pick up something else, but just for looks and feeling like you're one of those Civil War veterans, it's pretty nice. So there you go. If I can answer any questions or be of any help, please let me know. Otherwise, stay safe, practice a lot, and above all, have a lot of fun. Thanks for watching.